A very good morning, dear children. Hope you all are safe. Am I right? Yes. And I believe that you all are following the instruction given by your teachers to be safe at home during this COVID pandemic situation. So, last two classes we discussed about, different parts of the cell and bulb also. Two types of bulbs we had already discussed. One is an ordinary bulb and second one is the LED bulb. And I hope you had read the textbook and that sections were clear to you. And we know that the substances that we see around us, they show different properties. When we discussed about the properties of the materials, I hope you remember, we discussed that some substances, they allow heat and electricity to pass through it. I could feel that some of your eyes are shining because you may know it. And some substances, they do not allow the heat and electricity to pass through it. Based on that, we can say the substances that allow heat and electricity to pass through it, they are known as good conductors of heat and electricity. And the substances that do not allow the heat and electricity to pass through it, such substances are known as bad conductors of heat and electricity. So now we are going to discuss about the substances that allow electricity to pass through it and the substances that do not allow the electricity to pass through it. Have you got any guess? What are the substances that allow electricity to pass through it? Yes, absolutely right. They are the metals. Almost all the metals, they allow the electricity to pass through it. And we can say some of the examples of those metals, they are the gold, silver, copper, then aluminium, platinum, etc. These are some of the metals that are very good conductors of electricity. Gold, silver, copper, aluminium and platinum. These are some of the examples of the substances that allow electricity to pass through it. And meanwhile, you know that some substances, they do not allow the electricity to pass through it. Who can tell me the answer of that question? Yes, plastic is a typical example of substances that do not allow the electricity to pass through it. Plastic, rubber, wood, these are some of the examples of substances that do not allow electricity to pass through it. And the substances that allow the electricity to pass through it, they are known as conductors. They are known as the conductors, and the substances that do not allow the electricity to pass through it, they are known as insulators, or we can call poor conductors, or we can call bad conductors. Okay? The substances that allow electricity to pass through it, such substances are known as conductors. And the substances that do not allow the electricity to pass through it, such substances are known as what? Insulators, or we can call poor conductors, or we can call bad conductors. Is it clear? Differences between the substances that allow the electricity to pass through it and the substances that do not allow the electricity to pass through it. Okay, so now we know these are the substances that allow the electricity to pass through it. Okay, so you know that you have seen the electrical wires. Those who haven't seen it, just see this. See, this is an example of electrical wire. See, yes. So electrical wire, you know, it is always covered with, this is a plastic material. Hope it is clear. This is the plastic material. And observe the tip of it. Is this plastic? Then what is it? Yes, it is a metal. And which metal is this? Yes, it is the copper. So, the electrical wires are almost made up of which type of metal? It is the copper. You can see it here. See, this is the copper wire. Clear? Yes, almost all the electrical wires, they are made up of which metal? Copper. And you can see that this wire is covered by using, this is plastic. You can see the blue color, that is the plastic outer covering. Why? These wires are covered with plastic material. Because when electricity is passing through the wires, when we touch it, we get what? Shock. To avoid from getting the shock, the electrical wires are covered by using plastic. Very important question for the examination. Why the electrical wires are covered by using the plastic? To prevent, yes, or to protect the people from shock, or to protect the, yes, to protect the human beings, to protect whoever touches that, not only the human beings, animals, whoever touches that, they may get the chance to have shock. To avoid that, the electrical wires are always covered with what? Plastic. And the wires are mainly made up of which metal? It's the copper. Okay. Yes. So the electrical wires, you know, it is made up of what? Copper. And you know that gold is a good conductor of electricity, silver is a good conductor of electricity, aluminium, platinum, they all are good conductors of electricity. Then why we are not using the gold and silver or platinum for making the electrical wires? Among these, we can say the silver, platinum and platinum, they are the best conductors of electricity. We can call them as what? Best. You know what's the difference between good and the best? Good means what? Okay, so good. What about best? Super, isn't it? Yes. So the silver, they allow the electricity to pass through in a better manner. Well, comparing with the copper, copper-നെക്കാട്ടും ഈ silver, wires ആണെങ്കിൽ നല്ല powerful ആയിട്ട് electricity pass ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റും. Then why we are not using the silver for making the electric wires? Yes, silver, even though silver is the best conductor of electricity, they are expensive or costly. They are expensive, or we can say they are costly. ഭയങ്കര വിലപിടിപ്പുള്ളതാണ് silver. But comparing with copper, silver is very expensive. Copper വില കുറവാണ്, but silver is very costly. It is because of that we are not using the silver for making the electric wires. Once we are using the silver, it can pass electricity very powerful. നന്നായിട്ട് electricity വളരെ powerful ആയിട്ടും വളരെ fast ആയിട്ടും it can pass. But unfortunately, as silver is expensive or costly, people are not using the silver for making the electric wires. Instead, they are using what? Copper. Not only that, these aluminium wires are also used. If you the transformers and all electricity, main connect electricity grid, main electrical wires, it is made up of which metal? Aluminium. Keep in mind that. Okay, because it is not in the textbook. So the main electrical wires, the wires that we are using in our own houses, maybe electrical equipments, there we are using the copper normally. But the transformers and all, mainly that wires, or the wires that carry the electricity to different houses and places and all, they are made up of what? Aluminium. They are not made up of copper, they are made up of aluminium. Copper in our houses and offices and all, electrical equipments. Inside electrical equipments also we are using the copper. Aluminium is also cheap. Aluminium is cheap. So aluminium is also used for making the electrical wires. So clear? So the substances that allow electricity to pass through it, they are known as conductors, and substances that do not allow the electricity to pass through it, they are known as insulators, poor conductors or bad conductors. Electrical wires are always made up of what? Copper or aluminium, even though silver is the best conductor of electricity. Why? Because silver is very expensive, very costly, so we are using the copper. Aluminium wires are also used. And the outer covering of the wire, always it is plastic, because plastic is an insulator. Plastic does not allow the electricity to pass through it. So when we touch, even though this wire is connected to any main switch, Even though it touches the wire also, we will not get shock. Why? Because it has got an outer covering. Clear? Now we can move on to the next session, that is how electricity reaches our home. You know, electricity, in the beginning of this chapter, we already discussed that without electricity, we cannot imagine a day. That much we are dependent on electricity, isn't it? Without it, you can imagine, for charging the mobiles, for watching the TV, for filling our tank, motor, for working each and every object or electrical equipment in your house, they need the electric power. So now we want to know how this electricity reaches our home. How the electricity reaches our home. Are we producing electricity in our own houses? Is anyone producing electricity? No, but we all are using electricity, isn't it? Yes. So the electricity reaches our homes from somewhere. Don't you want to know from where we get this electricity is coming? Yes. Electricity is mainly produced in the power plant. Electricity is mainly produced in the power plant by using a machine known as what? Turbines. Electricity is usually produced in power plants by using a machine known as what? Turbine. You can look at the board and see the picture of the turbine. And the turbine, when the turbine works, electricity is produced. Very simple. When this turbine works, electricity is produced. Then how does this turbine work? I hope many of you have that question. When the turbine works, electricity is produced, of course. Then how does this turbine works? Yes, how? 3 different manners the turbine can work. First one, it can work by using the power of water. The turbines can work by using the power of water. Second, it can work by using the help of coal, kalkari, coal. And some other turbines, they work in the power of nuclear energy. So 3 different things are needed for the working of the turbine. Based on that, these power plants also have got different needs. Some power plants, they uses the power of water to operate the turbine. Turbine work cheyikkan. Some power plants, they uses what? Power of the water, not 1 or 2 cups of water. High power of water is needed. In some cases, in some power plants, they uses the coal, kalkari vechittu. In some power plant, they uses the nuclear energy. Nuclear fission and all. About this, you will study detail in your higher classes. And here, steam is produced. And that, with the help of that steam, the turbine works. Here it happens. We don't want to go deep into that. We just understand in some power plants, they uses the water, and such power plants are known as what? Hydroelectric power plants. Such power plants are known as what? Hydroelectric power plants. And the power plants that work on coal, they are known as what? Thermal power plants. And the power plants that work on nuclear energy are known as what? Nuclear power plants. Clear? So 3 types of power plants are there. The power plants that uses the power of water to operate the turbine, they are known as what? Hydroelectric power plants. The power plant that uses the power of coal for by using the coal when the turbine works, they are thermal power plants. And when they uses the nuclear energy, nuclear fission, then we can call such power plants as what? Nuclear power plants. From these 3 sources, electricity is produced. Clear? Hydroelectric power plants, thermal power plants, and nuclear power plants. One more thing is that is the, all have heard about what? Solar energy, isn't it? This solar energy, the solar panel is there. the solar panel can also produce electricity. Solar panels are there, and the solar panels, they use the power of sun or sun's heat or sun's energy for producing what? Electricity. You know, some of the houses people are fixing the solar panels, and we will get full day electricity from the solar panel without paying any money. But we want to invest huge amount comparatively for fixing that solar panel. If once we do that, definitely, in our school also it is there, our Kavina block, it works basically on this solar panels are fixed there. So with the help of the solar energy, then we'll get electricity. Okay, directly they can absorb, the solar panels can directly absorb the sunlight or solar energy, and what is produced? Electricity is produced. So three power plants we already know. Hydroelectric power plants works on, yes, water. Thermal power plant works on, yes, what? Coal. And what about nuclear power plant? Very easy, nuclear energy. So by using these three different power plants, we get electricity, and this electricity is transmitted through electricity grid. Electricity grid. When you can look at the board and see what is electricity grid, and this electricity grid, this by through the different wires, the electricity is carried to houses, hospitals, schools, business, shopping malls, wherever the electricity is needed. Electricity produced from these power plants are carried to different areas wherever it is needed through the electricity grid. So at the board, on the board you can see that. So by using the powerful wires, electricity is transmitted, and we all are enjoying the electric power. Okay. Yes. And you know that when we observe have you seen the transformers and all? If you haven't seen, no, you can ask your parents, they will show you. Maybe near your house you can see the transformer, or while you are traveling you can see the transformers, and from there only the electricity is supplied to different areas. Okay, one transformer, if it is there, the transformer can provide or supply electricity to nearby houses and all. Another transformer can supply electricity to another group of houses, hospitals, etc. To reduce the load, single transformer cannot provide the electricity to numerous houses, then hospitals, etc. So to reduce the load, different transformers are fixed in different areas, and from these power stations it is supplied to different areas, and from there it is supplied to different areas, and from transformers only we receive the electricity, and it is through the electricity grid. And when we observe these main wires, we could see that they are not insulated. Even though the electricity is passing through it in very high power, it is not insulated because it is too difficult to insulate all the wires, and it is always kept at a greater height also. Hope you have observed it. You can, when you look after this class, just go out and just observe the wires that are seen in front of your house, and these wires are not insulated, and we don't have any chance to touch that also because they are fixed at the greater heights. Unknowingly also we are not going to touch it. To avoid that only, they are kept at greater heights. Once we touch it, definitely what happens? We may get shocked. We may know we will get shocked. So it is not advisable to go and touch the transformer wires are there. Please don't go there. We could see danger signal. Hope you have seen that danger signals are kept there because you are not supposed to go near it because high power electricity is passing through it. When we touch there, definitely we may get shock and we may die. Okay, even the animals also, especially the birds, they also have the chance to get the electric shock. Okay, when it touches two wires together, when they touches the two wires together, definitely they may also have the chance to get the shock. So like normal wires or electrical equipments we are using in our own houses, they are insulated or covered by using the plastic. But the wires that are used, transformers and electricity grid and the normal wires and all, they are not insulated and they are kept at greater heights to avoid the contact. So children or even the elders or adults are not advised to go and touch these wires because at any time we will get what? Shock. If you see any broken wires on the way also, please don't go and touch it, because electricity is fast, especially during the rainy season. You know, sometimes you may see broken wires on the road, and we may not know if during the flood condition also, in the water, definitely water is a very good conductor of electricity. So if anyone catches fire, don't, last year you studied about it. Please don't pour water if anyone catches fire, because water is a very good conductor of electricity. Okay, so please don't do it. So water is very good conductor of electricity. So always keep a distance away from these electrical wires. Once we operate the electrical equipment also, kindly always be very, very cautious about it. Even though it is insulated, if any broken areas are there, especially when we are using the iron box and all, no, sometimes the wire sometimes after using for maybe months or years, or if you are using it carelessly, you may see some broken areas. Through that also we may get the shock. Okay, so once we are ironing the cloth, when we touch that, that metallic area, also we may get shock. If you operate the electrical equipment by using the wet hand, we may have the chance to get shock, because what, as I told you, good conductor of electricity. So whenever you operate an electrical equipment, please be aware that it can be harmful. So always try to use the slippers while operating any electrical equipment. If you get shock also, then definitely you can be saved. Otherwise, no, definitely when we are operating it by using our bare legs, definitely what happened, the earth definitely is a good conductor. So electricity can pass, and our body is also a good conductor of electricity. That's why we are getting shock very fast. So children, please be very aware. Even though electricity is very much useful, it can be harmful in different ways also. So kindly avoid always in contact with electrical equipments. Okay, in need also, please do it. Okay, so that is the way by which electricity reaches our homes. Electricity is produced in power plants by using the machine known as turbines. Turbines can work by using water, and such power plants are known as hydroelectric power stations. Then some power station, they use the coal for working of the turbines. They are known as thermal power plants, and some uses the power of nuclear energy. They are known as nuclear power plants. Okay, then from afterwards the electricity is carried to the electricity grid to different areas, houses and all, wherever it is needed, and it is always kept at a greater height to avoid close contact with it. So hope it is clear about the way by which the electricity reaches our homes. So you can look at the board and see the whole pathway by which the electricity reaches our home. In that same diagram is in your textbook also. Just look at the board and observe how this electricity reaches our homes from the power stations. Okay, let's look fast. Okay, now we can discuss about some of the fill in the blanks that is given in the textbook. See, take the textbook, all of you. Yes. Page number 170. Hope you all have taken. Page number 170. Roman letter 2. Tick the true statements and cross the false one. Fourth question. Sorry, second one. Plastic is a good conductor of electricity. Is it true or false? False. Plastic is a poor conductor of electricity. Second answer is false. Then fourth one. Electric wires are covered with good insulators. Yes, plastic is an insulator. So electric wires are covered with plastic. Okay, that is true. Next, see the answer to the following questions. Electric wires are made of copper. Question number 4. Electric wires are made of copper. Why? Copper is a good conductor of electricity. Not only that, it is cheaper. Copper is a good conductor of electricity and is much cheaper. Next one. Why are electric wires covered with plastic? We had already seen it. Why these electric wires are covered with what? Plastic. Why? To make electric wires safe, they are always covered with plastic to make the wires safe. Otherwise, when we come in contact with these wires, we may get shock. And keep us safe, the electric wires are covered with what? Plastic, as it is an insulator. Next one. Describe in your own words. So do as directed. Describe in your own words how electricity produced in a power plant reaches your home. How? Where the electricity is produced? It is produced in power plants by using, yes, coal, by operating the machines known as turbines. Then how does this turbine works? By using the coal, power of water and the nuclear. And especially solar panels also convert the solar energy into electricity. Then what happened? These power plants and the power plant that operates on water, they are known as hydroelectric power plant. Then coal, thermal power plant, nuclear energy, nuclear power plant. So electricity is produced there, isn't it? Then it is carried to houses, hospitals, schools and wherever it is needed through the electricity grid. And the electricity wires are kept at a greater height to prevent us from in contact with it. Clear? Yes. So, as I used to say every time, read the textbook. If any doubt is there, you are free to contact me through WhatsApp or you can call me. So, please be safe, my dear children. Whenever you go outside, kindly wear the mask and wear it properly. It's very, very important. Wear the mask properly. And now we know that people are not much cared about this pandemic. Previous time, no. Months back, last month and all, they were much worried. But now when we go out, we could see that people, they are not at all having any, concern about this pandemic. But once we get it, no, it is too severe. And the post syndrome also. Post means what? After corona mari kanitla syndrome, that also problems are there. Especially to the younger ones like you and the old people. They are much affected. So please kindly be safe at home. And if you are kindly avoid the public functions. That's very important. When you go and attend public functions, definitely you may in contact with your friends or relatives and all, and you may not know from where they are coming. Once you get this disease only, you will understand. Okay, so kindly, and if you are forced to attend such functions, kindly keep or practice social distancing, and please don't touch the public areas, the staircase, railings of the staircases and the switchboards and door handles and all. So many people are using it. So kindly, and if you want to open the door, you can use this area like this or like this. Please don't use your hands. Once we use the hand, no, you are using hand for touching your eyes, nose, etc. So kindly, and if you want to, operate any switch, you can use the tip of the pen or pencil for doing it. And if you don't have kerchief or anything with you, if you feel to cough or sneeze, please don't do that to your hands. Definitely, what happened. Normally, you are doing it. Or if you're having that a year before last, you had the tie, that time you had to use your tie for it. Many of you, not all. But kindly avoid doing all these things. And if you feel like coughing, if you don't have the kerchief, you can cough into this area, this elbow, because this part is in not contact with any public areas. So, my dear children, please be safe at home. Okay, always practice, whenever you are out, practice social distancing. Stay away from COVID. Okay, until we meet in the next class, it's bye from me. Take care.